Thank you very much. It's great to be in San Francisco. I always like observing small cultural differences between the coasts. Here we've got artisan-infused lime and basil water. In New York, it was a bucket of Sprite with a sign that said, "Deal with it." So it's fun to see how those shift up. But I'm Romeo. I'm Launchfire's Director of Business Solutions, or as I like to say, Director of BS. And what I'm demoing here today is our learning experience platform designed exclusively and specifically for financial institutions. Now, the problem that we saw in the industry was pretty simple, and that's, if I can sum it up in one line, bank training sucks. I would love to use more colorful language, but my marketing team said I'm not allowed to swear anymore in presentations, so I don't. But that's really the problem, is whether it's digital product training or, God forbid, compliance, ultimately it takes too long, it costs too much, and employees hate it. So what we've developed is really a gamified platform that brings people back into the experience every day so that training always becomes top of mind. And with micro-learning bursts, they actually pick up the information and change their behavior rather than saving it all for once a quarter and cramming it all in at once. Now, this is the main employee hub that users see when they log in. I know some platforms claim they have gamification because they use points and badges, but I always call that lamification. It's kind of 2005 and doesn't actually really work very well. Ours was premised on the most addictive mobile games where you earn points by training successfully, and then you buy boosters which progress you through the experience. But of course, the only way to succeed is actually doing the training itself. Now, this is the course screen. This is where each user will see a personalized learning journey really specific to the information that they need. I'm going to log into one quick course now to show you what some of those rounds look like. So we've got 14 different types of game-based learning modules, and I'll just show you one of them to see how we actually transform the content into a real game experience so that it's fun for users. Rather than just read a PDF or answer a quiz, in this round, users have to find what the errors are in that content, and here it's specific to protecting against spear phishing. So users have to read through it and, in context, find where those mistakes are. Why this is useful is, one, in tracking, you can actually see how confident people are in answering it, and you can really see where your knowledge gaps are as an organization. And you can make sure that people really are actually going through the content and not claiming they read a PDF, which is certainly something that I do when I go through traditional training. So it's a good way of revitalizing some of your long-form content that can't be broken down into a really easily digestible form, because it makes it into a fun, gamified experience. Of course, after each round, users see how well they've done, and it connects it back to the main game, so they see how close they are to the next level and shows them how successful they were in this specific type of training so that they can really plot their own course for learning in the future. You can also star rate courses, so you get that easily quantifiable information for course administrators, and you can write comments about each step. I'll say this is great step, highly relevant. Presenter could be more handsome. They're subjective, so, and that just makes sure that you always have that quantifiable and qualitative feedback from learners when you go through parts of the training. So that's game-based learning rounds. We also have product simulators. Now, I always get kind of tired of your classic linear demos that walk you through one step to the other, usually with a blinking light, because I feel like that form of passive learning doesn't actually give people the confidence to talk about digital products and really have the conversations that the bank wants them to really in the market. So what we do is give people a mission. You can see here that they have to deposit $694 into their personal checking account. Now, that's Canadian dollars, so it's really $3.50-ish if you're using the translation. And what the user has to do is really go through this entire process and kind of actively drive themselves so that they can really figure out how that product works and gain confidence with it. So it's a lot more active and certainly a lot more confidence building than walking through a linear demo of how a product works. So it's kind of our take on using those type of demos and simulators. And again, you get that feedback, so you can see how well you've done. You can see I failed recently just to make sure that there was some variance in the graph. But the last thing that I want to show you, just before I get into our tracking and analytics, is how we teach soft skills. Because I find in a lot of learning platforms, that's kind of a gap in how people experience learning, because they don't have that real sense of what a customer needs and how to inject those types of conversations. This has been used for sales training, frontline training, also leadership. I use it really across the industry. It's even useful in anti-money laundering training. And what it does is it gives you a facsimile of a customer, and then you have to go through the process of kind of a choose-your-own-adventure story, and the person reacts based on how you actually answer and how you interact with them. And you can see they get kind of cheesed off, and sometimes they look at their watch. And if you really flunk, you can actually lose that client to another bank. I think these rounds are useful because they kind of bridge the gap between knowledge and empathy, and I really do feel like the industry needed some sort of additional soft skills training because it was kind of flunking in that regard. So you can see here, I've actually lost clients based on how badly I did in that role play scenario. So it really does give a sense of stakes for employees as they go through it. We also have social collaborative elements in the platform for people who like to learn by chatting with their teammates and peers, and that you can build a team for yourself and track their progress. Also, if you're the competitive type, you can go into the leaderboard and see how well both you've done and also your team has done. So there's something for the competitive and the collaborative crowd. But I think what's really interesting and something that most learning platforms don't have is our tracking and analytics dashboard. So you can really see not only how often people are engaging. You can see that one sad person did their Finovate demo practice at 4 a.m. last night, unfortunately. But you can also see, and I think this is an important metric, how well people have progressed beyond their baseline. I think this is something most learning platforms, even learning management systems, don't have, is that you can really see the return on investment from a program when you're able to track how well people have done versus their baseline, which the system assesses automatically. So if you have a problem in your financial institution that you think would be better served if employees got behind you, of course you all do, please find me on the Brella app. My name is Romeo. Look forward to talking to you. Thank you.